Madrid. Hello, my friends, and welcome to continued coverage of GP Madrid. You're in the booth with me. My name's Riley Knight, and I'm joined by my good friend and colleague, the French Hall of Famer. It is Raphael Levy. And I tell you what, speaking of Hall of Famers, well, a lot of these players are going to be in that conversation throughout their careers because we've got some of the biggest names in the building. Raf, look at this. Mengucci, Calcano, Dominguez on one side, Hendricks, Flock, and Strasky. This is an all-star lineup.
Yeah, on the left side you have the Italian, the American, and the Spanish pros. And on the right side, the Dutch and Czech and Slovak pros.
Someone better call NASA because the stars are all out tonight. These guys here, we talked about the role that Blue Black plays in Stand at the moment, and Andrea Mengucci has got a little bit of a different twist on the archetype because he's playing Grixis.
Yeah, he decided to go for some more red removal spells, and shape of Harness Lightning, one Abrade main deck.
A couple of Magma Sprays as well, finding
Magma
their way
Sprays
into his deck.
and Chandra.
Yeah, so some very powerful cards indeed, but still built around this classic shell of riding the Scarab God to victory. Thomas Hendricks, on the other hand, he's playing a essentially green-red monsters deck. We've got cards like Carnage Tyrant. We've got cards like Merfolk Brancher Walker and Jade Light Ranger. Green cards that offer a little bit of value through all points in the game. And then some classic red all-stars, of course, Glory Bringer, Chandra Torch of Defiance, and excellent interactive options like Magma Spray, Struggle to Survive, and Abrade. So this deck has had a pretty quiet career so far, Raph. I think it's been overshadowed by mono red, but the value, the late game plan of things like sitting behind a Carnage Tyrant, drawing cards off a Jade Light Ranger. There's a lot to like in this deck.
What won this last standard GP in the US? Was it Red Green Monsters?
A Red Green Monsters deck, yeah, that lent pretty heavily on things like Rekindling Phoenix and what have you. I mean, of course, Rekindling Phoenix in the deck of Thomas Hendricks here as well. So this deck, you're right. You could be right in saying it's on the up and up.
And Andre is relying also on the energy mechanic with Virtuoso 4 Willow Virtuoso in his deck. So it's a little different from the blue-black control decks you'll see around.
Not quite a Grixis energy list here, as we see an Abrade from Thomas Hendricks target his own Earthshaker Kenra. He wants that in the bin, not in exile, and also, of course, to control Mengucci's life total a little bit more. Vraska's Contempt, one of the mainstays of this standard format here, Raph.
Yeah, one of your favorite cards, if I remember correctly.
It is indeed. There's not a good excuse to play any fewer than 4 if you're playing black. Tussles so well against all of the top-end threats in the format, from Hazoret to the Scarab God.
Chandra Torch of Defiance.
And we're going to follow
into
that up
Gonti.
with Gonti, Lord of Luxury. So the mana used from Chandra there. And 4 cards off the top here from Hendricks. Mengucci's going to get his pick of the bunch.
I don't think Thomas Hendricks is very happy with the beginning of this game.
No, hasn't quite gone to plan.
His Jet Light Ranger got cannered. And now his only possible play is to eternalize his Canara. Unless he has more action in hand, but he kind of passed with six mana last turn. Yes, that's what we see here.
So it is going to be an Earthshaker Kenra here for Hendricks.
Attacking Chandra, putting it down to 1 canner.
Try to recoup some of that lost tempo here as Mengucci sort of pushes himself ahead here on the board at least. Still under siege his life total.
So I'm trying to understand to guess what's in Thomas's hand, because he hasn't been doing much so far.
Jade Light Ranger cast from the Gonti, Lord of Luxury here. Harness Lightning, the first card for Mengucci to consider. And he's just going to leave it on top. That Jade Light Ranger grows to be a 4-3. Not a bad rate here. And the Italian Stallion continues to develop his board.
$4-3, good enough to block and trade with the Kenra.
Yes, and as Mengucci has more removal coming off the top of his deck as well, it looks like he's in a good position to push further into this late game. And Hendricks has got to find something here to keep up. So Mengucci.
It's a good. I like this combination.
Oh, yeah.
Scrying on top with Chandra, knowing exactly what you're gonna draw, so you can.
Fry that 4-4.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. In comes Gonti.
So Ganti worked as a 2/3 Chupacabra here.
Yeah, did really well.
Yeah.
And it's also got also Death Touch here on this card. Here's a Glory Bringer, though. That's a good one from Hendrix. Going to be able to apply pressure.
He's gonna be able to kill the Ranger and Chandra at the same time.
Yep. And Mengucci with only one mana up. This means that looks like that Glory Bringer is going to get across uncontested, you would think. Gucci seems to be having a chat to old Christian Calculator there. But Hendrix is going to be able to attack and exert. Away goes the Chandra, and away goes the Jade Light Ranger. Well, having a think about it here. It is going to be the Ranger. So that's a great play for Hendrix to get back in the game here.
So I'm just thinking why he would consider not killing the Ranger here. Maybe it was to avoid a Scarab God, to reanimate his Ranger, but he already has one in the graveyard, so that would not have been a good reason to do that. No, but he just killed it, so he was just making sure that was the right play. Or just he maybe wanted to attack again next turn, since Andres is on 10, so he could have attacked.
Just really put the pressure on.
Yeah, put more pressure.
Well, Chandra comes down. Another Flame Slash here is going to take care of that Glory Bringer. So a second Chandra for Andrea Mengucci is a real nice one for him. This is a really interesting take on the Scarab God in Standard here, this Grixis list from Mengucci. Got the chance to catch up with him about it, and he just really did value those early interactions. He didn't want to play cards like Moment of Craving when he had things like Harness Lightning and Magma Spray to use instead.
Okay, so his hand is... we had a glimpse at his hand. So it's a Merfolk Branchwalker and 3 Struggle Survive. Not the card you really want to draw here.
3 copies of Struggle to Survive.
Yeah.
All three.
All three of them in his hand, yeah.
Jeez. He's got a 4th in his sideboard as well. Let's hope he doesn't draw that.
And the Braid is... I don't think that's what he wants to see.
Nope, that one's going to hit the bin. So 3/2 Merfolk Branchwalker clears out some of the trash from the top of Hendrix's library here. Now, Struggle is going to be a way to, of course, keep the Lord of Luxury off the table, but doesn't do a whole lot in multiples against a deck like Mengucci's. Not playing very many creatures, and the ones that he does play a 3-mana removal spell doesn't deal with them cleanly. Things like Gonti, things like Whirl of Virtuoso. Struggle isn't enough to take care of them once and for all.
But Struggle is going to take care of the Scarab God. If Mengucci taps 5 mana to play a Struggle, to play the Scarab God, Thomas can kill the Scarab God. The Scarab God will go to the graveyard.
Oh, and then next turn.
And on the same turn, on his turn, he's gonna play Survive.
Yeah, sure.
And then shuffle. No, he would do that on his turn. Everything on his turn.
Yep.
Or at the beginning.
No, couldn't do it. Couldn't split it across the 2 turns there because obviously the Scarab God would come back. That's right.
So yeah, sorry, he can Struggle end of turn after the Scarab God. Wouldn't have triggered. So end of turn, beginning of the end step. If a Scarab God is in the graveyard, it triggers if it died.
I think the point is here.
Yeah.
Struggle to Survive is an answer to the Scarab God.
Yeah, but the timing is important.
The timing is very important.
Timing is very important.
Timing is very
If he does it at the end of turn, that works. If he does it during his turn, before the end of turn, it doesn't work.
Glen Sleeve Siphoner, the play here for Mengucci. Hasn't this card just really shown us how powerful she is this game? This tournament.
It might overthrow the Scarab God as the best card of the tournament.
You think so?
I think it's close. Both cards are great.
Yeah. Both cards are terrific. Both cards really making their mark in Standard. Glint Sleeve Siphoner is something of a newcomer here as a Chandra Torture Defiance comes down for Hendrix.
So some action, finally.
Yep, and that means that opposing Chandra here, this is an enormous flavor violation. We do have a flavor judge on hand, of course, to rule in these situations. But from a gameplay perspective, it's all coming up trumps here for Hendrix.
Killed Siphoner, so no card advantage.
Nice turn here for Hendrix, but a
Supreme
Will.
Ooh.
All right, so Mengucci is going to use that to protect his Glint Sleeve Siphoner. Obviously values that card advantage engine here. And it's back to Mengucci now, untapping with a lot of mana to use, and he's going to be able to draw an extra card off that Glint Sleeve Siphoner as well.
And Mengucci not able to kill Chandra this turn. He only has 4 power in play.
That's true. And all of these burn spells in his deck, of course, only targeting creatures. Up to 2 energy now. Chandra down to 1 loyalty. So this has turned into a bit of a slugfest here. Life totals haven't changed too much in recent times. Here is the Scarab God from Thomas, or for Andrea Mengucci, but happily for Hendrix.
Does he have? No, he doesn't have the 9th land to activate it right away. So that means the struggle is going to be useful here.
Very expensive answer to the Scarab God, but it is going to get the job done all the same. So struggle to survive is effectively a clean answer to the Scarab God, preventing that last triggered ability from having any real worth.
So now if Andrea has a counter spell in hand, do you counter the struggle?
Or the survive?
Yeah, because if he plays the struggle, the Scarab God is going to die. But then the survive part would take care of the Scarab God right for good, for now. But if Andrea counters that part of the spell, then the Scarab God will just come back.
Chandra Torture Defiance, dinging Mengucci for
but he has
2 here.
he has 2 of them in the graveyard, so
yeah,
my point does not work.
So, Scarab God goes away to the bin, and now we will almost certainly see Hendrix cast Survive here in order to shuffle away those graveyards.
So Survive is 2 mana, so he can cast 2. So no point in countering the first one.
All right, so Survive is going to shuffle away those graveyards there.
It's a good way to deal with the Scarab God.
Yep.
There's also a Puncturing Blow, not as good. It's a 4 mana sorcery, 5 damage to creature, exile it if it dies.
Yeah, it's a bit more of an expensive option. Still gets it done though.
It's only 4 mana. It's not more expensive. It's just less
Less flexible.
flexible.
Sure.
As an instant, that card would have been great. That would
Yeah.
have been a great answer. And I think that card, Scarab God would be a little worse
If there was an instant.
if that card
yeah.
would totally change the meta game. I think.
Do you think so?
I think
it's
that would
that
be
good? Wow.
if that was an instant.
Yeah. All right.
I think that would change a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen cards like War Leader's Helix have big impacts in previous formats. And Glinsleeve siphoned it down once again here. So Hendrix is keeping himself afloat. And this is the texture of this match is really showing us what this standard format is capable of. It's a very interactive match that we're seeing so far. Lots of counterplay. Not a clear advantage to either player here as a Merfolk Branchwalker.
Ooh,
Pins
that's
an
a good one.
Kenra. That's a nice one there, yeah.
That's the
Jeez, a big play here for Hendrix.
that's the dream. He had no he had no cards in hand at the beginning of the turn, and then he gets a 3/2 and a 4/4 haste.
Instant board. Just add water
Yeah.
here for Hendrix.
That
Really
turn
nice
was
sequence.
rough for Andrea.
Super nice sequence here.
And he can't counter.
No. I mean, a disallow
Eternalized.
will
Yep.
will.
Oh, yeah,
trigger
he
the-
can't internalize. He can't counter the trigger. He cannot counter with Essence Scatter, for example.
No.
That's a great turn.
So the Merfolk Branchwalker does pick up a counter because it didn't reveal a land. So we've got a 3/2 and a 4/4. One of them with haste as well. It's not too bad. Not too bad a situation here.
You would think that Glorybringer was a good draw, but that was much better.
It was actually, much better. Magma Spray on the Merfolk Branchwalker. Mengucci down to 3 here. He's going to have to hold back that Gonti if he can't find something else. But a Confiscation Coup, how about that one? Doesn't even have to pay any energy here. Converted mana cost of the Earthshaker Kenra still 0 here, the Eternalized version. Although those Eternalized with the Scarab God do have converted mana costs, important to remember. So up to 6 energy now. And in comes Gonti. So Hendrix has to find something special here, as Mengucci has really continued to chuck these punches about. But Raph, it's been fascinating, the level of back and forth between these two players so far.
Yeah, and if the thing is now Thomas has to find something quick because it's a 2-turn clock on the Andrea's side.
Supreme Will. 4 cards off the top, 3 lands,
And
Scarab God.
God
I think it's a
here.
Gonti hanging out in the front of there as well. But a Scarab God's a nice one here for Mengucci. Maybe that was the one he shuffled away earlier. So, Hendrix
He's angry for
on the back foot.
revenge here.
Yeah. He's going to come back hulking and furious. So here is the Scarab God as Hendrix falls down to 6, and Mengucci may have just found the tools he needs to finally put this one to bed.
And the Siphoner in the graveyard, so that's an extra creature.
And that is
And
that
that's
for
it, yeah.
Thomas Hendricks. Has to pack it up. And what a game of Magic we just saw. Raf Levy, a really, really fascinating sort of network of counterplay and back and forth between two of the best players in the world. That was a real joy to watch. And on our back tables, we can see that the results went the other way here for these teams, as both Ivan Floch and Andrei Strasky picked up Game 1 wins, respectively, in their matches against Calcano and Dominguez.
So Ivan and Christian are playing Junt, so it's a Junt mirror, and Andre is playing. Playing. How would you call that deck? You know the
Canadian
name.
Threshold.
Canadian Threshold.
Canadian
All
Threshold.
right. And he's playing against Javier Dominguez, who is playing about. Oh, he's playing. Bug.
Yeah.
Which is
Sultai Delver.
Sultai Delver.
Yeah. Rafael Levy was, in fact, you've been playing Magic for how many? 2,000-3,000 years?
About 1,000 years.
But
the names of the deck change all the time.
Exactly.
So I could give you a name and you tell me like, what's this deck?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So on the screen you can see the matchup here, and we've already seen Grixis control Grixis Energy facing off against Red Green Monsters in the hands of Thomas Hendricks. Jund Mirror on Modern, but as we mentioned there, Andrei Strasky and Javier Dominguez, Bug Delver, Sultai Delver, whatever you want to call it, versus this Threshold deck from Andrei Strasky. And the reason we called it Threshold or Canadian Threshold is because, of course, of Nimble Mongoose. Nimble Mongoose was the threat of choice for these decks before Delver of Secrets was printed. Now that the Delver's decks are around, we do see him, I guess, more Delvers than Mongeese. Mongeeses, excuse me. But these days, the old Nimble Mongoose can still get up and about.
But they're buds now.
They are friends.
Yeah.
The Nimble Mongoose plays second fiddle to the Delver of Secrets. But Deathrite Shaman is also a very, very powerful one-drop in Legacy. And Strasky here.
Helps keep the Mongoose small.
It does. Yep, eating away those graveyards. 3 cards off a ponder here for Andrei Strasky, who has zero lands in play, thanks to, it looks like a Wasteland and a Daze has been cast by him already. I think many people would have thought that Strasky would have turned up with his favourite Legacy deck, Check Pile, 4-colour mid-range there, the Leovold Emissary of Tress deck, but it looks like he's surprised all comers here. Something a little different. Dominguez with a sloppy cut there. Back to Strasky after this ponder, draws a card. And I think that's going to be that. Back to Dominguez, who untaps with the Deathrite Shaman. He seems to be in good shape. Nice full grip of cards. What's he up to here? It's going to be a Brainstorm. This is, of course, the archetypical play here in Legacy. Brainstorm in conjunction with Fetch Lands means that it's a source of virtual card advantage. Raph and I were discussing yesterday the fact that there are very few divination type effects in Legacy, but you draw further ahead, you grind it out with virtual card advantage with cards like Brainstorm, Young Pyromancer, and so forth.
I think the reason for that the cards that actually draw you cards, they cost more than one.
They cost more than one, yeah.
And Legacy is a lot about cards that cost 1 or 0. And there are not a lot of cards that do that for 0 mana.
No, a 2-drop is like expensive.
That's the end of the world.
A 2-drop is like a curve topper in a lot of Legacy decks. I mean, we do see Jace the Mind Sculptor played in Miracles, and Palace Jailer played in decks like Death and Taxes, but invariably, especially on these tiny decks, these small decks here is 1 mana spells and 5 mana spells as well in Force of Will. Now we're going to see, I think, pitching Force to counter this Delver of Secrets. I assume it's a Delver of Secrets and, not... I don't know.
It is.
I can't even name a single other flip card. Garrick Relentless from Innistrad. In comes Deathrite
For 1
Shaman.
blue or 1 black, I think that's the only one.
Looks like a Daze has taken care of that Force of Will now, and a Preordain.
That Wasteland that took care of Andrei's only land. It prevented him from casting Daze, which was not exactly super useful in that case because the Deathrite Shaman was untapped.
Yeah. Insectile Aberration flipping for Dominguez here. So he's the one with the clock. And this is a pretty typical game of Legacy, you would say. It's a game of very thin margins. Every drop of mana is precious. And I think we're going to see him Turak played from by Dominguez here as he fetches, finds a Bayou. And that would certainly indicate to me that Strasky is about to have to discard a couple of cards. Now, the really good thing about Tim Turak is, of course, these cards are discarded at random.
Yeah. I like this card. I like the picture of this card.
Yeah.
The Oling
Yeah.
Wolf.
Looks like one of those. Looks
Yeah.
like one of those shirts that you can
Yeah.
buy with the the 3 moon wolf or whatever it is. 3 wolf moon. But him to Turak snags a True Name Nemesis and a Wasteland here for Stratsky. He's got 3 cards left in hand after that draw step, and inadvertently reveals a Nimble Mongoose. He decides to cast it all the same. Nice turn for him. Gets himself back on the board. 3/3 Shroud takes care of the Insectile Aberration.
And it's going to take a
Stratsky has
while
some pressure.
for Javier to make that mongoose smaller, because there's a lot of cards in the graveyard.
Double Deathrite may help in that regard, but for the time being, Stratsky is going to be able to sit behind this very, very resilient threat here.
It takes 7. It takes 7 to make threshold,
Mm-hmm.
but Stratsky is only on 9 life, and he's facing 2 Deathrite Shaman. So it's only 5 activations, but it's about 3 turns.
Yeah, and the
So
fact
1
that,
this turn 7.
the fact that both of Dominguez's
3,
lands tap for
nice.
black means that that's going to come around sooner rather than later here, you would think.
It's a 3-turn clock.
Stratsky under the gun here, going to have to find something to deal with these Shamans. Of course, they slice, they dice, they do it all. And for 1 easy payment of 1 mana, it can be yours. Stratsky draws off the shuffle now after having pondered, and he's going to get in. Here's the Mongoose. Getting busy.
Yeah, still enough cards.
And a Lightning Bolt hits the exile zone to do 2 damage to Andre Stratsky. Let's have a look what Dominguez can find here.
Another Delver.
It's a great way to apply even further pressure.
Just
Stratsky,
to make sure he's winning next turn.
Stratsky having a hard time of it here. What can he find? Not too many cards that are going to get you out of this.
Explosive Soul 1 wouldn't even work. He would need an extra land.
So, activation of Deathrite Shaman here for Dominguez. Get rid of this Preordain and this Ponder.
Oh, that was a bolt. That was
And a Lightning Bolt.
a good draw.
So that stems the bleeding a little bit, but a Brainstorm off the top here for Dominguez. They've just always got it. They always flip the Delver. And that is going to be enough here for Andre Stratsky to pack up his cards and go to game number 2. So equalizing there, Javier Dominguez, the World Championship finalist.
Go to game number 3.
Sorry, game number 3 here, as we've seen both players will pick up an early victory. Looks like on our other tables we don't have any updates as Calcano and Flock battle it out in addition to Mengucci and Hendricks. Calcano and Flock on the Jund Mirror, Jund deck that has recently received a real shot in the arm, you would have to say, with the addition of Bloodbraid Elf back into the format. Of course, Abzan was the deck of choice for black-green rock players. Previously, Raph, these days, it's all about that BBE.
Yeah, Abzan cannot play BBE.
No. No, it'd be a very greedy player who would try to put Lingering Souls in a deck with BBE. But of course, I mean, you could do it.
That's actually
not a bad hit.
It's a pretty good hit.
Not a bad hit at all. We did it, Raph. We broke it.
Yeah, the mana is going to be a little stretched.
A little rough?
Yeah.
Nah, don't even worry about it. Put Chromatic Lantern in there as well. Hit that off a BBE. Oh, easy game.
Probably not the best hit.
Well, all right. Agree to disagree. Both these players sideboarding now. Going to see if we can hop over and see what's going on in other tables. Jump back into our standard match here and see what's going on. Another Gonti Lord of Luxury on the battlefield for Andrea Mengucci. Hendricks with what looks like a pretty empty battlefield on his side of things. Got a little Pokedex happening though. Lifecrafter's Bestiary. Going to draw him some extra cards. Scry some cards away. Looks like that one went below decks here. This card is pretty crucial in these mid-ranged or slower matchups here.
I like it with in decks that are a little cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
When your creatures are a Glorybringer, it just sounds a little too slow.
Yeah. Yeah,
but,
sure.
But Thomas has a couple of 2-drops and like Merfolk, Branchwalker, Jadelight Ranger. But still, it's 3 mana, 4 mana to draw a card.
Here's the Ranger. Not going to draw a card off at this time because Mengucci did flip an Abrade to that Gonti. And a Commit to Memory is going to take care of the Ranger before it's even had time to party. So Hendricks, under a bit of pressure here from Mengucci, who is hitting his land drops and really firing on all cylinders by the sounds of things. With his Gonti. Really impressed by this card. Caught up with Mengucci about the inclusion of Gonti in his deck, and he said it is just a straight up 2-for-1 every time.
So can you give me the text of Doomfall?
Doomfall is target player exiles a creature. or
Alright.
reveal their hand, exile a card from that hand.
Now
So
I'm trying to see what happened to the. I'm trying to figure out what happened to all. Yes. Oh,
we've got a struggle to survive here being cast.
isn't something exiled from the Doomfall?
I don't know.
Like we missed the beginning,
It
but
could be, it could be off the
exile
screen there.
creature. Yeah.
Could be off the
Exile.
screen.
I think one of the. Yeah, I think one of the. We missed the beginning, but I can only imagine that something must be exiled,
Yeah.
unless he discarded it.
Maybe we got their exile zone is like
Yeah, maybe
super off the
maybe we're
screen.
missing the
Maybe
the
the exile
exile.
zone's on the floor under the table.
Yeah.
So commit to memory now. Draw some extra cards. Nice fresh grip for both players here.
Oh, right.
There's the Rekindling Phoenix
I
that was
see.
exiled. That's a nice one. Nice one to
Alright.
exile, of course. And commit to memory after having resolved, shuffling away both graveyards and drawing fresh grips for both players.
All right, now we see what
Yeah.
what happened.
Now we can see what's up.
So it was just a time twister played,
Mm-hmm. Just the 6-mana Time Twister.
a time spiral, no untaps.
And a Glorybringer Exerted is going to take care of Gonti. So not a 2-for-1 this time, although Mengucci still got a good amount of value off of the Lord of Luxury here. Let's see what comes up next.
That's a packed hand. 2 Raska's Contempt,
Yeah, packed and stacked, huh?
Confiscation Coup.
Confiscation coup.
Confiscation Coup.
Every now and again, you
Virtuoso.
just engage full-on French mode.
Yep. That's when my tongue slips.
Oh, yeah.
Ball.
And a Confiscation coup on the Glorybringer here. So a nice turnaround of things for Mengucci as he goes down to 2 energy.
Well, it's a French word afterward. After all.
Coup.
Yeah, cool.
Coup. And so I think the question here is whether it untaps or not
Yeah.
after the exertion trigger.
I think it does.
I think it does too. Because it
Like
says
he
it doesn't
would
untap during your untap step.
Like he would not untap now.
No, not now. But I think next turn, Mengucci is going to be able to untap with the Glorybringer.
That's right.
And a World of Virtuoso. Also a 4 of inclusion in Mengucci's deck. He values this card very highly indeed, it has to be said. A little value engine for all of that extra energy that might be floating about here and there. And we'll see what's up now for Hendricks. Of course, he's got a nice full grip after that memory was cast. We'll see what he intends to do about it because he's facing down quite a board. Here's 3 mana. You'll see a struggle. Never a nice feeling to have to struggle to blast your own creature out of the sky here, but, well, needs must, and that's what happens here with Hendricks. A lot of basics in this list as well. 8 mountains, 8 forests, 4 sheltered thickets. No funny business with these with this mana.
Discordia, Scavenger.
And a Deathgorge Scavenger is a nice way to contest those graveyards. Probably going to want to snag that Gonti out of there before there are any shenanigans with future copies of the Scarab God. No, instead it's going to be
Glorybringer.
the Glorybringer.
Protecting his Glorybringer from attacking.
Uh-huh.
If Andrea manages to get his 9th land and activate his Scarab God right away.
Mengucci cycles away Canyon Slough here. Finds a Harness Lightning to take care of the Deathgorge Scavenger. Let's have a look at what's up next. What's next on the menu here for this Mengucci cuisine? It's a pass of the turn. Over to Hendricks now.
It was a cooked dinosaur.
Yeah. It's Dinosaur a la Flamme.
A la Lightning.
Hendricks slowly deploying the cards in his hand after that memory was cast by Mengucci here, offering both players a fresh grip. Looks like he's got a couple of copies of Magma Spray, which aren't doing too much. Surprised to see they remain in after board. I guess he has to deal with the Glintsleeve Siphoners. It looks like we've got a result for our Jund mirror match as well, with Ivan Flock beating Christian Calcano in straight sets.
Yeah, I like that take on blue-black control. The Grixis mid-range Mengucci's playing, because Thomas has to keep the Magma Sprays, which are only good against the Siphoner. And if Andrea doesn't draw the Siphoner,
they're just dead cards.
They're just dead cards. So Thomas has to keep a good number of, a good amount of removal and that they don't do much at the beginning or at the end of the game if the game doesn't go exactly the way he wants.
Even double Magma Spray here is not any good against the Scarab God. You'd think Exiling would be fantastic, but we're going to see a Braid plus Magma Spray here. So Hendricks, with the old 2-for-1 on himself.
Harness Lightning would actually be pretty good here.
And now we're going to see...
To kill the Scarab God.
Oh, right, yeah. And now we're going to see a Gonti reanimated thanks to that Scarab God, which will be departing stage right for good here.
But that's just much better. Getting a 4-4 for free for no card.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be more Scarab Gods.
Alas, poor Scarab God. I knew him, Raf.
Yeah.
And now he's gone. Really has been running the tables this weekend, the Scarab God. Certainly something to keep on at the forefront of your mind if you're a standard player. The fact that you do need to deal with this 5-5. I mean, this is it's not news to you. This card has been great since it was printed, but really shining brighter than ever before, I would have to say. Big attack
4,
now
5,
from
6,
Mengucci.
7. Yeah, Thomas is...
Oh,
look at this.
as well. Oh, dear. Enough for Hendricks to
Yeah,
pack him up there, and the game goes the way of
1-1.
Mengucci, as indeed does the match. So, Andrei Mengucci avenging the loss of his teammate there, Christian Calcano, and now it all comes down to Dominguez and Strasky. We are going to try to jump over onto that table just as quick as we can to see what's going on between Strasky and Dominguez, because again, this legacy game, Raf, will determine the outcome of this match.
Loser, probably no shot at top 4.
No. It's very unlikely. We may have one team sneak on X and 3 just based on the way that the numbers have panned out at this tournament. But picking up a loss this early on in round 11 is probably not going to be the best place to do it here. Deathrite Shaman on the side of Dominguez, a Brainstorm on the side of Andrei Strasky. We've got our classic legacy cards out to play today. This matchup between Sultai Delver on your left and Canadian Threshold on your right, or Timo Delver if you want to call it that. So many different possible nomenclatures here for these legacy decks.
So look at the convert mana cost of every single card that's been played.
It's exactly 1.
It's exactly 1, except for lands. And if it's not 1, it's probably 0.
If it's not 1, it's effectively 0 with something like Days or Force of Will. Yep. Yeah, legacy mana curves are super weird because they're really, really like tons of 1s, a couple of 2s, and then obviously 4, 5 drops.
And I think if you're wondering why Treasure Cruise was banned in Legacy, that's exactly for this reason.
Yeah.
Because all the cards that you don't see card advantage, you see 1-for-1. Punter is a 1-for-1. Brainstorm is a 1-for-1. Bolt is a 1-for-1. And Treasure Cruise was 1 mana, 1 for 3. So it kind of broke the balance in that 1-for-1 in these 1-for-1 matches.
Yeah, it was just it was a very, very easy way to refuel there, and it was unsurprising to see Treasure Cruise get hit by the banhammer. Dig Through Time has also suffered the same fate in Legacy, given the fact that I think preemptively they realised that it was just going to be the new Treasure Cruise as soon as Cruise left the format. It's good to see mistakes like that being made, however. Obviously, Treasure Cruise's reign was not too long. Burned hot and bright in Modern as well. But exited the format, and we haven't seen it since. Dominguez now goes hunting for a land. What's he searching for here? Going to be able to deploy more threats to the battlefield, perhaps. The curves do, I mean, we talk about them being stuck at, 1 and 2, but I mean, there are 3 drops that are played throughout the format, and there are a couple of them in Dominguez's deck in the form of Liliana of the Veil. We also see things like True Name Nemesis as well.
It's a hard card to deal with in Threshold decks. You can Pyroblast it as soon as it's being cast.
Yeah, on the stack you can, of course, yes.
Yeah. But then it's too late.
So Dominguez here goes searching again. We may see a Liliana cast here. He's going searching for that 3rd land. I'm not sure exactly what he's looking to play here.
So I'm looking at Andrei's deck, and once True Name Nemesis resolves, he has no answer to it.
At all?
I don't see any.
No Diabolic Edicts, no Council's Judgment?
Now, he's not playing black, so...
Or white.
So, no, there's not going to be any Diabolic Edicts.
Oh, dear. And now Deathrite Shaman is looking to get busy here.
There are not a lot of cards in these colors.
No, in the
that
team of
deal
colours.
with-
No,
No.
they're not. We're going to see.
In black you have some. You have Liliana.
Here
You
is
have Diabolic Edict.
Here is Liliana of the Veil now. Huge haymaker here for Dominguez. Really, this is the equivalent of something like a Carnage Tyrant in Standard. Playing a 3-drop in Legacy is no joke, especially in
It
these.
has to be good.
Has to be
it has
very
to be
good.
very good.
Oh yeah,
Well, at least in these matches.
it is a big windmill slam for this one here, and Stransky has been given pause to think about it. I think he may have an answer. Obviously, Dominguez is playing around days and representing further ways to ensure his Liliana resolves here, and it's going to. Both players discard. Having made their selection, we'll see exactly what they wanted to chuck out here. Dominguez snaps off his decision. Stransky takes a little bit longer, and we'll see. 3, 2, 1. What do we got? Oh no!
You're
Okay,
first. You're
still,
first.
still,
No, you're
still
first.
thinking about it.
You first.
Well, fatal push from Dominguez and a mystery card from Stransky here. Very odd graveyard configuration for the young Czech player.
So it seems fairly obvious that Javier exiled a land from Andre's graveyard, but it serves extra purpose because of the Nimble Mongoose.
Yes, he's going to look to keep that graveyard as
It's going to be hard.
slim
It's
as possible.
Unlikely it matters ever, because most of Andre's spells are going to end up in the graveyard every turn.
Yeah.
But
Yes,
just in case there's another wine, there's another shaman to speed up the process.
Given how cheap Andre's deck is here, it's not going to be hard for him to keep that graveyard well stocked now. But he's under pressure.
Not a lot of pressure. but a little.
Liliana of the Veil is certainly no joke. He's going to have to find a way to contest it.
Yeah.
Dominguez still representing some kind of interaction with one land up and 2 cards in hand.
And Andre is playing True Name Nemesis in his sideboard, but
Mhm.
right now, not too hot with Liliana on the board.
So Flooded Strand goes searching. Here is a True Name Nemesis, keeping that Tropical Island up to play around days as we see Stransky search out that 3rd land
Oh, it's
to pay for it.
yeah, and he plays another creature to be Liliana proof, and Javier is gonna look for a counter for this one.
Brainstorm. Dominguez draws 3 cards, and with the Mongoose on the stack here, what can Dominguez find? 2 cards have to go back on top, of course. Can get a good look at what those cards were. I think I saw a Tarmogoyf in hand here for Dominguez. Ponder and Fetch put back on top for the Spaniard. Sacrifice a creature. Stransky sacrifices, well, probably going to be that Mongoose.
Oh, if Javier has another Liliana,
Oh dear.
that would be savage.
Just the double edict. Looks like Flock and Hendricks have come to have a chat about how this game is going out here. A lot of chat going on at the table. 2 mana, and it's a Tarmogoyf. Okay, so that's quite the clock here, but the True Name Nemesis looks to be able to fight another day.
So it's going to take care of the Liliana here. I can only assume he's going to do that, because otherwise he's going to have to sacrifice his Nemesis.
Another
Oh,
True Name
wow.
Nemesis. So this is just double the clock here for Stransky.
He has 1 domain and 2 in the board,
Yep.
so it's 3 in total.
Well, 2 copies of it here is really going to put the Spaniard to task, as we see Dominguez gain a little bit of life here, exiling that Nimble Mongoose. This Tarmogoyf is a big bad thumper right now, as another Brainstorm is played for Dominguez, and he found a Golgari Charm off the top.
I was actually looking at Javier's list to see if there
Wow,
was
that's so huge
a
here,
Golgari
Raph.
Charm or more edicts. He has 1 edict in the sideboard
And this
and
is
1 Golgari Charm.
This is one of the most disgusting 2-for-1s you're going to see in this format, ladies and gentlemen. Double True Name Nemesis here for Andre Stransky, the card that can't be answered. And Dominguez plucks the Golgari Charm off the top of his library, and no worries at all.
Or he can just generate each of his creatures.
Very true. Yeah, destroy target enchantment, sure. But it's going to be this -1/-1 effect that is going to be disgusting here. Does Stransky have anything to say about it? He does not, and the Tarmogoyf rubbing salt into the wound. Ugh. Rafael Levy handed that bucket. I'm going to be sick.
That has to feel bad.
That is a disgusting play here for Dominguez, who absolutely took Andre to the cleaners with that play.
In Legacy, the thing is, you can play one-ofs and
expect to see them.
And reliably see them during the game, because you see so many of your cards with Spawner, with Brainstorm, with the fetches. You can shuffle, you can look at a lot of cards in your deck. And
here's a price of progress to seal the deal here for Andre Strasky, going out in style. And unfortunately for Hendricks, Flock, and Strasky, that will be that for their top 4 hopes here. But their opponents, Calcano, Mengucci, and Dominguez, live to fight another day. At X and 2, of course, they've still got to dig deep and really battle hard. But things are looking good for the team superstars on the left-hand side of the screen. What a dramatic ending there. Golgari Charm was just massive for Dominguez there.
That was the best card he could draw.
Yeah, perfect answer there. Absolutely, it was indeed. My friends, we're going to go to some ads now, but on the other side of this break, we'll be back with some Time Org magic, and you're not going to want to miss it. So stick around. We'll see you back at GP Madrid before very much longer. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the tournament floor here at GP Madrid. My name's Riley Knight, and I'm joined, of course, and you are joined by Raphael Levy, the French Hall of Famer. You are watching MTG Red Zone, ladies and gentlemen, and it's great to have you along as we get into some time walk magic. We're going to have a look at our matchup here and see the two teams that we're going to be having a look at here. Elias Watsfeld, Joel Larsen, and Per Nystrom here. We've got blue-black control and Jund and Red Prison, a legacy deck that doesn't get a lot of airtime, but it's done very well for this Scando trio here. And they're playing Adrian Ramiro Cano, Christian Ortiz Ross, and Rodrigo Togores on blue-black mid-range, living end, and Storm, respectively. Blue-black mirror in standard, well, not quite a mirror match, but this is the strategy, the premier strategy, you would say, in standard at the moment, Raph.
One has more control, one has more creatures. And it feels that the mid-range deck is a little favorite in this matchup because of its way of getting its card advantage. And if unanswered, it will slowly get ahead. Slowly
snowball out of control here, and that's exactly what well, both of these players will be hopefully hoping to do here. But as we see,
Champion of Wits very efficient in this matchup.
Yeah. And Ramiro Cano on the more mid-range list has plenty of ways to contest the battlefield very effectively. Gonti is a nice little brick wall for Watsfeld here, but it looks like Cano has other plans entirely here.
So Fatal Push, the Revolt of Fatal Push, enabled by Field of Ruins.
And a tidy turn here for Ramiro Cano, removing all of the creatures here.
A card exiled from Gonti on Elias's side.
And an attack for 4. Watsfeld under a bit of pressure. He's got this Arguel's Bloodfast to keep ahead of on cards, but he's not ahead on life right now, and that could be important moving forward. Ramiro Cano with another Gonti. 4 cards off the top.
He's not waiting for it to be dealt with. He just wants to have it in play right away.
Torrential Gearhulk, in addition to what looks like a Moment of Craving and 2 lands.
No, I think it's a Restless Contempt.
It's a Restless Contempt, okay.
And a moment. No. Moments of Craving, land, Restless Contempt, and Gearhulk.
Okay.
I think I would go for Gearhulk here.
Looks like Ramiro Cano agrees with you there, Raph.
That's right. And he has 6 mana. Does he have energy? He might not have energy. I don't know. Can't see from here.
Can't see the energy pools just yet, but we can see that Watsfeld is going to draw another card with Arguel's Bloodfast, knocking himself down to 12.
I think that's one of the cards that impressed me the most this weekend. As in, not the top card, the Scarab God or Glint-Sleeve Siphoner, but the Bloodfast.
Yeah. Another way to...
It's been great on camera.
Pull ahead on cards. And another way to pull ahead on the board is Metallurgic Summonings. This card is not something that we see a lot of, generally speaking, but it's a great one out of the board, effectively creating a creature for every instant or sorcery that it's cast by Watsfeld.
And he has 2.
He's got 2 copies.
2 copies, yeah.
And an Arguel's Bloodfast here for Ramiro Cano.
It's not quite Necropotent, but it kind of works the same way.
It's getting close to it, huh?
No, it uses the life to draw cards, and it's closer to Greed.
Yeah.
But it's cheaper to play, a little more expensive to use. But in games where you don't really fear for your life total, it's just great. It's a great way to manage your resources.
Reminds me of Erebos. Yeah, God of the Dead.
Oh, Erebos.
In
I thought you said Airbus.
It reminds me of the Airbus A380.
Airbus, yeah.
And the fact that it just flies through the skies and takes hundreds of people around the world every day. Not quite. Airbus, the God of the Dead. He crossed the river Styx in an Airbus. Oh, dear. Watsfeld now. He's got a Vraska's Contempt, and that's a nice answer to the Champion of Wits, of course. And that means that he gets a 4/4.
That triggers the summonings even if the counter's countered.
Yeah. It's whenever you cast it. So it doesn't have to resolve. So a nice little 1-2 punch here for Watsfeld. Ramiro Cano draws a Torrential Gearhulk off the top. He's got a negate in hand, though.
Yeah, but he also has a Fatal Push to kill the 4/4. So is he going to counter here? He's just going to let it resolve.
Depends how highly he values not only the this side of the champion wits, but also the Eternalize ability, because Vraska's Contempt very neatly cuts that short. Having a good old think about how he wants to proceed here.
I think he will need to counter the drawing spells, because that's what fuels the summonings. If Elias doesn't have ways to draw, then he won't be making as many creatures. Does he care about this guy?
Well, he seems to be thinking about it long and hard here.
Yeah, I think
ultimately,
yeah,
it's going to be exiled. Watsfeld gains 2 life.
I think he's going to play Fatal Push. No? Oh, okay. I think keeping the pressure here would have been a little.
Well, here's Liliana Death's Majesty. We saw the 4/4 block the 2/3 Gonti just now, and that's why both of those creatures traded off.
And that resolves. Okay.
And now with this Liliana bringing back Gonti, the Lord of Luxury for one more game. Let's get another card off the top here.
That's a game-winning play.
Pretty huge.
I think that the choice he had was to just wait a turn to have a counter backup and to make sure Liliana was there, but then
Fatal Push on the Lord of Luxury, but the damage has already been done because Ramiro Cano has 2 extra cards off of that Gonti now.
And only a 1/1.
1/1 thanks to the Metallurgic Summonings.
Yeah.
That's right.
But that's not killing Liliana.
So this 1/1 now. Metallurgic Summonings is, again, a great way to contest the board with all of those instants and sorceries. And as Liliana gets knocked. No. Okay, going straight at the Domesky. And now here's a Torrential Gearhulk, and Vraska's Contempt flash back to exile Liliana. Another 4/4. But Metallurgic Summonings has a secret mode. You can sacrifice it, pay some mana and sacrifice it to return all instants and sorceries from your graveyard to your hand, only if you have 6 or more artifacts. I mean, if you have 6 or more artifacts and they're all creatures that you've made with Metallurgic Summonings, you should be winning anyway.
I've seen Elias having many creatures in play. So it's not going to matter yet, but it could.
So Ramiro Cano does have a Torrential Gearhulk and a Disallow effectively in hand. They've both been exiled with Gonti, so he can cast them whenever he chooses.
So with Elias on 12 life, he can start using the Bloodfast again and fuel his summonings.
Looks like he does have at least 1 energy here, so as to activate that that Ether Hub.
Yeah, I wasn't sure of that.
Got a lot of swamps and a lot of islands here, but it's going to be Torrential Gearhulk out the hand. So while Watsfeld is tapped out, looks like Ramiro Cano is going to pick his moment here, and it's going to be a Fatal Push on the 4/4. Nice tidy answer to quite a large creature there. And of course doing it while Watsfeld was tapped out.
Feels bad to have the negate in hand and no blue mana open.
Gearhulk gets sent in.
And it's for free because if Adrian chooses to block, then he might be facing Moment of Craving.
And it looks like that's the card that's going to punish him here.
Oh yeah, well he had it. But if Elias did not have the Moment of Craving, that could have been 5 free damage because Adrian could have been like, oh, I could have been wary of the Moment of Craving. He did have it, so the attack was even more obvious.
Watsfeld is drawing ahead slowly but surely here. Metallurgic Summoning's really putting in a lot of work. He hasn't drawn too many cards off that Bloodfast recently. Ramiro Cano has kept the cards flowing.
It's a lot of blue cards for very few blue sources.
Oh dear. Poor old Adrian Ramiro Cano. It looks like he's sitting on is that a charter course in addition to a Torrential Gearhulk?
It is. It is.
He's going to have a read of Metallurgic Summonings.
So that card is taking over.
Yeah. We can remind ourselves of the exact text of the card. It says, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create an XX colorless construct artifact creature token, where X is that spell's converted mana cost. You can see on the screen there, a construct was created for 1 with a Fatal Push and for 2 with a Moment of Craving. But then if you pay 5, you can exile Metallurgic Summonings and return all instant sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand. You got a bit of a refuel there, but you've got to have 6 artifacts to be able to activate that ability.
Oh, I see what went wrong on the Adrian side.
Tell me.
when he used his Field of Ruin,
Oh.
he went for a swamp, to be able to play his Fatal Push on the same turn.
Uh-huh.
And I think his plan was to get an island, but that just didn't work with the mana. So he got a swamp, and now he's paying the high price for not having enough blue mana.
Yeah, he's been punished for it here. He has finally found another island. But Watsfeld draws another card thanks to Argor's Bloodfast, and another one just for good measure. So he's keeping that hand nice and stocked here.
Yeah, he's flying away on an Airbus.
This Airbus really is taking him a long way into the stratosphere here. Watsfeld draws his third card in a row, and he's got plenty of action. Kano's got a nice grip. He's got Disallows, he's got Torrential Gearhulks, but he doesn't have double blue to cast them.
Yeah, he can't back the Torrential Gearhulk.
He could have energy. This is not something that is abundantly clear to us right now.
No, but he only has 7 lands, so he can't play Gearhulk and negate.
No.
He
definitely doesn't. He doesn't have 3. He doesn't have 3 blue, no matter how you slice it.
Yes.
But Watsfeld
or 3 or 7 or 8 mana.
Yeah, it's just not happening. It looks like, however, he does have enough energy to be able to cast this Torrential Gearhulk.
Yeah. Well, it's up the screen.
So he didn't make any indication that he's changed his energy count there.
I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what the
Okay.
energy count is. And Commit Memory.
Commit to Memory is creating another 4/4 here.
It's pretty great because
that's concerning because Adrian Romero-Cano didn't make any indication to have changed an energy pool there.
I know.
I mean, this is a replay. This is Time Warp Magic, ladies and gentlemen,
see,
so we can't really do anything about this here, but that is something worth noting there.
Yeah, and he doesn't have any way to create energy.
Oh, he doesn't actually need to be able to create energy with it. That Torrential
Oh,
Gearhulk was
yeah,
from
with
Gonti.
the Gonti. That's right.
Excuse me. Yeah.
That's why he could cast it.
And he had the one in his hand that he's already
That's
cast.
right. That's right.
Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense.
Also, I like the play of the committing the Gearhulk, his own Gearhulk. So he's going to draw it next turn since he's going to draw an extra card.
Yeah, that was very neat. Very neat.
I like that.
Yeah. So Watsfeld has really done a great job of continuing to keep himself well and truly ahead in this match. Metallurgic Summoning's pulling a double shift here and doing so much work for him. Really like this card as something of a mirror breaker in these long drawn-out games. Here's another Torrential Gearhulk, but it doesn't even touch the table before Watsfeld finds the Essence Scatter, and that is that, with Watsfeld taking out the second game, which means, of course, that it's a wash on our modern table, and that is that. The team of Swedes on the left-hand side of your screen have won, and they go through to the next round with a very good record. Ralph Levy. That is just about that for this round of MTG Red Zone. Stick with us, of course. We've got to go to a break, but on the other side of it, you'll be joined by Tim and Moraine for more magic here from GP Madrid. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you back here very soon.